Hello, good morning everybody. Hope you're all keeping well, hope everybody's safe still. Thank you first of all for everything you've sent in currently. Some of you have done a really good job. Had plenty of feedback from people, and hopefully people seem to be enjoying having these videos once a week or twice a week as it is. So, ideally I want to do it sort of twice a week, one on the Monday and really one for the Friday, to try and make sure we've got the work done, give you the answers if you have been struggling, because I know what it's like, it can be really difficult. You're working in isolation, you're working on your own, it can be quite daunting, can be quite challenging. So, first of all, we'll go through some of the answers from your work you've done this week. So, I'm aware it's Friday morning, you've still got time to get it submitted. I'd really like it by 4 o'clock this afternoon though, please, if you have still got it time to submit. So, answer to question 1 then. When we're doing a test on a stack, it's 38 millibar for 3 minutes and we should have no leaks whatsoever. So that's 38 millibar using a manometer. It's a 3-minute test and we should have no leaks. If it passes all those criteria, then that job is done and then you can allow water to go through it. Obviously, if there is a drop somewhere, what you need to then do is investigate. So we use something called LDF, which is leak detector fluid. You'd have to rub that around some of the joints and then do another air test and see where it bubbles up to find out where the leak will be. 9 times out of 10, when you're buying brand new fittings, you're absolutely fine. As long as you've installed them correctly and as per manufacturer instructions, you're fine. But that's the test that we would do. Then for question number 2, I asked you for 2 measurements for the long radius bend. The first one is 450 and the second one was 750. So if you can find them in part H, they're the two sizes for your long radius bend in terms of heights. So that's 450 and 750. Okay, number 3 then is if you're terminating to a window within 3 metres of an openable window, then you'd have to have the stack of 0.9 metres, that's 900mm. So if you're within 3 metres, it needs to be a minimum of 900mm away from the openable window. It's obviously you with outside 3 metres with no openable windows, you'd be fine, you can terminate it wherever you'd want to do so. Although saying that, you'd really want to keep it in keeping with the local area and the local houses. It would look very strange inside somebody's house having like a half stack that doesn't match anybody else's. So some cases where we were outside 3 metres, we terminate them above the roof line anyway, just to keep it in keeping. So that's 900mm if it's within 3 metres. And then question 4 was to do with the mechanical fitting. I gave you a bit of a clue on the last video. So in terms of mechanical fitting, if you're going to connect to copper and lead wastes, what you'd have to use is one of these mechanical fittings. They look like compression joints, but they're plastic and they're used for wastes. So the sizes will be 32 and 40. Now lead and copper wastes are slightly different in terms of sizes. So again, but this will fit on ideally and will hold water. So it would be acceptable to do that. I then ask you for some advantages and disadvantages of those two materials. So if we can clump the two together, it would be sensible to do so. So disadvantages are obviously the look of them. Aesthetically, they don't look very pleasing, don't look particularly nice. And then really the second thing is they're all imperial rather than metric, so trying to get a fitting on unless it's mechanical can be quite a challenge. And then obviously if they leak, there's no way we can repair it, so it's a matter of taking it all out and restarting. So a couple of differences there. Advantages though, they don't leak for a long time, so they can be in there for years and years and years. The last one I did must have been 20-30 years old, and we weren't taking it out in terms of just taking it out for the sake of taking it out. We were taking it out because we wanted to make some alterations to where the waste were going. So they do last a very long time, is the point there. Okay, so we've got to have a look at work you've got to do now for next week. So bear in mind you've got to finish this work, but I want you to add. So what we want to do is make a document that you can look back on whilst we've been off and go through, and that could be used as a brilliant piece of revision tool. So if we do have to go and do some exams, at least we've got some area we can focus and we can work on. So new work for this week is, question 1 is, once you've tested your soil stack, so you've tested it for 3 minutes at 38 millibar and you've had no leaks, what then do you need to do with all the traps to ensure they've not lost any seal? So what I mean by that is when we looked at the 5, the induced siphonage, etc., evaporation, wavering out, what test do you do with those traps after you've done that particular performance test? So again, look in part H, it's in part H, so have a look in there, you will find it, it will be under testing. It should be very close to where you found the testing really for your soil stack itself. Question number 2 then. Let's say for example you have a block drain or a manhole. What I want you to do is go through the step-by-step process of how you would clear that blockage. Now, I'm not saying what the blockage is, But I want you to think first of all of health and safety, because we're going to have our hands down into foul water areas, so that's not going to be particularly pleasant. So think of PPE, etc. first, and safe permits of work and the way that you can do it. Then obviously the third thing to think about with it is how you would investigate it. Where would you start? Would you just put your hand in there and hope for the best and close your eyes like some of us do? Probably not. Great idea. What would you do? Would you ask questions? What questions would you ask? Are you going to ask how long it's been going on for, etc.? So there's a scenario that I'd like you to have a go at, please. Then the third one is, can we connect wastes together? So for example, if you've got a wash hand basin and a bath, and you've got your stack in the corner and you're going to connect your waste pipes into the strap boss, could you tee those two ways together, just have one pipe going into the boss itself? Is that possible? Is it allowed? So, if you said yes, I need you to back your answer up. So no good just saying yes you can and not telling me why. If you're saying no, then that's also plausible. Again, back your answer up. Tell me why. Why wouldn't you do it? Why? What's the problem? So, a bit of a scenario there. And then some of you have got on really, really well. So what I've decided to do is add some stretching questions in there and see what you can come up with, because some of you are working really well on some of these. So, for example, a customer's got a property and they rent it out on an annual basis, which is yearly. But for the past 3 months, they've not had any tenants in at all. They've gone back into the property after a couple of months just to get it ready for the new tenant to come in. So they're going to be doing decorating and checking other things and make sure everything's absolutely fine working. They've gone into the bathroom and found a horrible foul smell from the wash hand basin. They've narrowed it down to the basin because they've gone round just sniffing around and noticed it's the basin. So, question for you is, 2 parts to this. 1, what has caused that to happen? So it's a basin that's been stood static for 2 months. What's caused the smell to happen? Secondly, what would you do to rectify it? Now this might be something you can do over the phone with the customer. You don't even initially have to go there. So it's something you could give advice on maybe. Again, it's not a massive job to do, but you could give advice. So the first of all is really what's caused it, why has it happened, and then secondly, how can we actually fix it? Okay, so there's your work preset for next week, and I hope that all makes perfect sense to you. If it doesn't, again, email mbradbury@smbgroup.ac.uk. So just let me know, or you can call me or text me on my work mobile. So, without further ado, I hope everyone has a brilliant weekend. It's hard, isn't it, in isolation, to be fair. What I've found is that I'm finding every day is the same. I don't know about you guys. Every day feels the same, and sometimes you think, oh yes, it's brilliant, it's the weekend tomorrow. And you think, yeah, but it's the same kind of things I do as normally I do every day, so it's a little bit surreal at the minute. And I can imagine things can be hard as well sometimes, being at home, stuck in the same place all the time, can't go in to do what you want to do, you can't see your family, you can't see your friends, using a lot of social media and things like that to try and keep in touch with people. It is difficult. Do appreciate that. Again, if I can help or any way you want to talk about some of that with me, please feel free to do so. I'm not particularly struggling at the minute, so I've got plenty of work to do, but when we get to weekends and things like that, the best we can do is go for a walk, and that's about it really. So yeah, it is difficult, and I can appreciate it, and it can be stressful in a very strange sort of way. So yeah, if you want to have a chat about anything to do with that, please let me know. I'm quite open about all of that anyway. Okay, so any questions, let me know. All of you take care of yourselves, take care of your family. I hope everybody is safe, I hope everybody is well. Again, and just please keeping in touch. A lot of you have kept in touch really, really well since the first video, which is really promising to see. There's a few people that haven't been in touch. I'll try to get hold of those. But yeah, keep yourself safe, keep well, and I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.